Hi. This is a realization that I came about 5 or 6 years ago. So I was sitting in an African studies class, and in the African studies class, we were exploring why the continent is in such a deplorable state, why it's a third world continent as a whole, and why we have not been able to reach up to the standards of Europe and Americas. Obviously, that's also a topic of time, the time that it has taken for these countries to get there. Some of these countries have existed for as early as the 1000 and 1100 AD, like as they are right now. The state of the agriculture sector and the industrial sector are things that have grown over time and that will obviously take a lot of time to catch up with. So the main topic of that class was something called development. I believe all of you, if not most of you, have heard of the word development. So uh, basically, it's advancement in our society, either technologically, culturally, religiously, politically, or in any other form, just moving forward. That's what development is. And it's obvious that Africa is underdeveloped compared to the Western world and most of the upcoming Eastern economies like China and India and the rest who are coming up, Singapore. And the rest. So, so in this class, we were tackling what development is and who defined the term development. So it came to our attention that development was a term that was coined in the Western world, that is Europe and the Americas, and it basically used to describe their society. So a developed society is what a European country or a country in America is supposed to look like. So things like traditions were not included in all that, and the wisdom of our ancestors, or Africans, was not included in any of that. Our political systems, which were working fine for thousands of years before the Europeans came to colonize Africa, what the systems were working well and the society was a happy place. So the traditional African society was not seriously based on technological advancement or just I would say like advancement in terms of infrastructure and all that kind of stuff. But there was a very important component of that society, and that's happiness, something that is lacking in many of these countries that we consider development. The level of happiness and satisfaction among the citizens is very low, despite having all these things that they attach to their status and everything. So that's where the topic of North Korea comes in. So North Korea is kind of a secluded state. It can be considered underdeveloped, and it is noted that there's a lot of heat and a lot of criticization of the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong Un, because of how he runs stuff, especially his nuclear program and just whatever the Western media refers to as propaganda that runs the country. A highly censored press and internet and all that kind of stuff. The people of North Korea are not exposed to the outside world. And watching videos from North Korea, you can see that these people seem very happy and satisfied with the government. Obviously, the media from the West portrays this as a stupidity. Like these people don't know what they're missing out, and that's why they're so happy. They don't know anything other than the supreme leader Kim Jong Un and his family and his whatever they call a dictatorship in that country. They support the nuclear programs and everything that basically puts North Korea above the US. I have cited videos and like I've seen videos of from North Korea on YouTube showing what the North Korean media shows the citizens, and is that the world is basically crumbling outside of North Korea, and North Korea is the best place to live in the entire world. So that's where the question comes in with Africa. Africa has widely adopted the colonial system of doing things, and they are chasing the development. That is development of infrastructure, development of their politics, and the economics and all other forms of development. And we wonder, is this the right way to go? Is this the right way to go? While it may appear like the North Koreans are fake happy, there is some sort of innocence. Like there's a popular like English saying that says ignorance is bliss. So they're ignorant of what is going on outside there, and therefore they end up living very happy and fulfilling lives the entire lives. So do we as Africans go the wrong route by doing what we're being told, like adopting democracy and adopting all these methods that we have been told are going to better our society as a whole, like remove us from the savagery and make us a more civilized people? So looking at it, I was looking at the case of North Korea, and I'm like, if I was born in North Korea and never had exposure to the external world, I would be a very happy person. So the Western world took away our innocence. We were innocent to what we didn't have. They exposed us the trains, the cars, the airplanes, the maram roads, not the maram roads, tarmac roads. We had maram roads and dirt roads. We were very happy as a society. We we had everything we ever needed. People lived in one village their entire lives. They were known by everybody. Everyone knew the other. Community policing was there. There was a leader, maybe a king, who would rule their entire lives until they were dead. People respected their leader and they viewed their community as the best place to ever live. And it's the case. It's what we are seeing in North Korea right now. People are very sad. Like when one of their leaders died, like the former leader, King Jong Il died. You would see they were crying. Women were crying during her burial, like their relatives had died. Here, if our presidents die, no one cares. The people just go and do a watch. They watch it aired on TV. No one seems sad. It's as if they're glad to see their leader gone. And it's not stupidity, but innocence is a great thing that should be protected. Like we protect our kids from innocence. Like you'll see censorship on YouTube and so many other TV sites telling you this video or this program on TV is not suitable for children under the age of this and that. So it's something we protect the innocence. We want to protect the innocence until they reach the age of 18, where they can finally get exposed to the world. So the same thing is happening, but at larger scale. These people are sheltered from the outside world for their entire lives. They don't know anything else, and they are not adopting the methods that the Western governments are proposing to them. They are slowly building the society at a rate that they are comfortable with, and they introduce. It's said to be propaganda, but I could argue just as well that the Western media is also spreading a lot of propaganda. We learned, like in the African study, we were studying how these countries came to become superpowers, the methods they introduced, and the blueprint they're giving us as Africans for developing continent is what they have right now, the methods they're using right now. But when they were rising, like when the Americas and the European countries were rising into power and becoming the powerhouses they are today, they used the savage methods that they criticize us for using. There were kingdoms all over Asia and all over Europe at that time, and even the United Kingdom still exists, although it's not as effective as it was back then. But there were kingdoms; they were not democracies at that time, and there were no worker policies and all that kind of stuff during the time of the industrial revolution. They were employing the same methods that they punish. Like they punish China for doing, like paying low wages to workers to mass produce things and improve the economy. That's how they grew. We can't forget about slavery. They brought in slaves. Now no one is allowed to bring in slaves. So when you give us a blueprint of a developed country, a country that is already developed, introducing the education system that you have right now, introducing the government policies, the constitutions that you have right now, the rights for people and all that, introducing all that to a country that is not developed will not help the country develop. In fact, it brings the country down because the country is not yet at a position where it can accommodate all these new things. And it's a process that's supposed to take time and follow a course. And it should follow the culture of the people, as Obama and the rest of the following presidents have learned that Africans are against some of the the cultural like leanings of the Western world. It's a largely religious society, even without Christianities or Islam or the other religions that have come into the continent recently. It's a highly religious, and we have a strict moral conduct and association. I like one thing that I is common, like in my tribe specifically, and in other tribes as well. In Kenya, is that we are not supposed to call adults by their first or last names. We're supposed to refer them with terms like this is the mother of John. This is the father of Alex, and like that. That's the respectful. We have our own customs, but we are being introduced to these other customs. Like the Western government has taken whatever it calls its culture as whatever is the right moral leanings of everyone in this world. Uh, they are enforcing uh, their beliefs, they're enforcing their tactics, their political structures, and economic structures on our countries, and not letting us to grow at our own pace, which we can, which you can be able to regulate and form successful societies. And being independent, we are basically being turned into white people, black people with black skin, but basically you're white, which is what I see even in what I consider to be racism, is that uh, as a black man, you're expected to just act like a white man with a black skin, which is not ideal. It doesn't make sense. There's a culture that I have as a black person that I don't want to let go of, which makes living abroad really hard because no one understands. The laws there are made by white people for white people, and people are congratulated. Obviously, the black community will call you a sellout if you conform to the standards given, but they do have a point. They do have a point. You have the responsibility not to let go of your culture and become the culture of your colonizer or your slave master. It's something it's something annoying or something very despicable to adopt, which is why I think North Korea is the best country in the world because they have rejected all Western philosophies. They don't allow other religions, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, or Buddhism, or any of that kind of stuff. Their their only connection to higher power or God is their king, and it's someone they can access physically. Personally, I don't believe there is God, so whatever God you choose to believe is okay. You can live with that. It's okay. It's easier to live life believing there is a God, and if your God is someone you can see and talk to, you're going to feel happier within you. Obviously, maybe later you realize there's not God and you realize there are other better gods, but for the time being, it's easier. It's happier. It's a happier society when you live within your culture and live within your means, live within your policies and what your community is comfortable moving in forward with. Which is why I don't condone. I wouldn't want to live in North Korea because I've already been exposed to the Western world. I've already boarded a plane. I know how it feels to be there. I know how it feels to live in that country where they are full of skyscrapers. The electricity never goes out. There's always water. The roads are good. The buildings have air conditioning. People are paid well. They have labor laws and all that. I've been exposed to that environment, and once I come back to an environment where such things don't exist, I would feel my innocence has already been taken away, so I would not feel comfortable. But I would be very happy. So I was very happy living in the village, not doing anything. I had big dreams. Like I thought I was the smartest person on this. I swear that's what I thought, and I was very happy. Like I taught people a lot of things. I would share a lot of things. I was a very talkative person because I believed I was the smartest, and it was my responsibility to share with the community what I knew and to become a guiding light. But now I feel stupid knowing so much, and I'm much less happy. So the question is like, do we want to be developed or do we want to be? What is more important to us as a society? Because I believe that happiness is more important than any kind of development you can get. And anything that interferes with the process of an individual achieving happiness or love in their life is something that should be taken with a pinch of salt and be done moderately by people who are able to handle it and become responsible members of society. Thank you.